Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take here after our semi-final defeat in the Carabao Cup to Liverpool. We were that close to a domestic cup final and a trip to Wembley. A 1-1 draw on the night, normally a pretty good result against a side like Liverpool, but alas, we're a bit flat. Drew's here, hello.
Good evening.
Here at the Craft Beer Company, thank you as ever for them putting us up. Drew, instant thoughts, that's what this is all about. Just sad, that's my main emotion.
Just disappointed, and I'm not sure what it is about this tie, but it's just a feeling of inevitability. So obviously tonight we drew the game, and that on paper is a fantastic result in terms of what people will look at and they'll think, oh, Fulham put up a valiant fight, and we did, and it was great, and all of this sort of thing. But I just feel like contextually there was a bit more that we could have done tonight. It just always felt like Liverpool had a game plan and it all went exactly how they wanted. Certainly in the first 10 minutes when they went ahead, that's exactly what they wanted. We got the fire out and it was excellent, and it all felt like a big occasion, and they doused that flame within 10 minutes, and that was what Klopp must have said to them. Within 10 minutes, just douse that hope and that flame that they had, physically, emotionally. And after that, we sort of were chasing the game, and obviously on the end of the game it turns out being 1-1, but it never felt to me like it was game on.
Yeah, it kind of, there was just, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that in some ways, Drew, we can come out with this result. Losing by the odd goal in 5 to a team like Liverpool is such a brilliant result in so many ways, but I don't know, it's just hard not to be deflated, because cup runs for a side like Fulham, for a team like Fulham, don't come around very often. It's our first domestic semi-final since the FA Cup back in 2002. God knows when there'll be another one, and I guess that's why it's so disappointing, because you just know that these are opportunities you had to grasp, but ultimately you also need a bit of luck, and we didn't get the luck in this draw by playing Liverpool.
Well, that's it. I mean, if cup semi-finals are easy, everyone would be doing them, right? And they don't. And obviously, yes, there were easier ties in this draw, and I think we all knew Liverpool was the worst one that we could have got, which is why we had that collective sigh of inevitability when we got them. But to be the best, you have to beat the best. And we look back on. I was at the last domestic cup semi that we had at Villa Park against Chelsea, and we lost to a John Terry header, and it was one of those things where the occasion was great, but ultimately the law of averages plays out, and the team that is bigger, the better, and the club that is bigger ends up going over, and that's what happened tonight again. Sometimes that's just what happens. It's sport, it's competitive sport. The better club, the better team, the bigger club, the better team wins the tie. But look, there's plenty of positives to take tonight. We drew the game, for God's sake. I know it didn't feel like we had to equalise to do it, and we needed to do more than that. I get all of that, but it's just a mark of how far we've come, where I think on this podcast we used to say 3 years ago when we were in the Premier League, oh, it's Arsenal, oh, it's Liverpool, it's Man United, these are free hits. They're no longer free hits. These are games where we expect to be competitive, we expect to get a result, and we hoped to get a result tonight. We didn't get it.
Let's just look back at a few of the Kia incidents. I mean, obviously you mentioned the timing of the Liverpool goal was just so perfect from them. Can't really work out the main culprit of accountability here. Castagne's beaten in the air, it's not amazing. And Bernd Lane, I think Bernd Lane will be disappointed. He'll be the most disappointed, I think, but I'm not going to be here criticising Bernd, considering all the saves he puts in for us every single game, but he punched the floor afterwards. He was clearly frustrated that squirmed through.
He's an elite goalkeeper. He doesn't need anyone telling him that being beaten in the post is probably not what he wants to do. He knows it. But also, look, if we talk about credit in the bank, which we do quite a lot, I think, he's one of the bank's biggest customers. So I don't think he has to worry too much about that. At first, in real time, you look at Castagna and you think it's his fault, but actually it was a good jump. And, it's just one of those things, like, could he have done better? Maybe, but it's difficult. It's difficult in these situations, and in the early goings of the match like this, like, anything goes, and it was a shame. It was a shame. It was just a perfectly executed game plan that we knew we were going to be up against. But as I keep saying, it's the margins of the different teams and the different sides and the talent on show, and it was just a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Fulham really struggled after that goal went in, just to get a foothold in the game. We couldn't seem to clear our lines, could we? We couldn't just hold on to the ball, and players, even with the quality of Kearney and Polina, were giving it away so much. But actually, Fulham in this match rallied and stayed in it. There was moments in this game where I was like, oh God, this is going to be 2-0 to Liverpool any moment, and then it's fully tie over. Fulham actually should get some credit for not completely ruling themselves out of this game and staying in it. It almost was the perfect game plan in terms of just keep it at 1-0. You're going to have that kind of, you get one and you never know.
Yeah, I think, without being in the changing room, I would have thought that Silva would have said keep it level to half time, and then we'll see what happens when we're attacking the Hammersmith end. That's where the moments happen. Keep it 0-0. You need a goal to take the extra time. We're attacking the Hammersmith end. Anything goes. I don't think, I think he probably anticipated it could be 1-0 at half time, but obviously when that happened at the perfect time, we did struggle. And it's difficult to appraise them in a real sort of clear cut way, because obviously we were chasing the game and it wasn't like a typical 1-0 at half time sort of game. It was obviously you've got to take in the two-legged affair. But you're right. We never capitulated, which we've seen before. We're a confident side, and we have been for years and years. Regardless of the manager, we've been a confident side, and you see it at Anfield where you concede one, you concede a couple, and it can turn on a dime. And actually, we showed a bit more of a dogged determination tonight to stick in it as long as we could. And on the night, obviously, we didn't lose, but it just wasn't enough.
As long as I breathe oxygen from this planet, I will never quite understand how Issa Diop was Johnny on the spot to score that goal tonight. He took it so well as well. He did the absolute perfect finish in that scenario. And I tell you what, I don't understand how he scored in the 81st minute. Where those 13 minutes went, because it felt like 60 seconds before the game ended. There was a moment just after Issa Diop scored and Harry Wilson kind of forced a save out of Kelleher. It was all a bit ropey. I think that was the moment to strike, but eventually Liverpool brought on Konate. They went to 5 at the back. We made, I think, some subs that I don't personally agree with. I think if the answer is Rodrigo Muniz, you're asking the wrong question. For me, in that moment, Pereira wasn't great, but yeah, there was just that moment, wasn't there, of we could do this here.
I think out of the 25,000 people in the Cottage tonight, I think it's probably not a stretch to say that Issa Diop was probably the last person to know what was going on at that moment when he went into the net. When you look at the replays as well,
yeah.
But look, they all count, right? I think what we needed to do when we scored that equaliser is do exactly what Liverpool did to us at Anfield. When the crowd's up, you strike twice. That's exactly what that was the mission. That's what we had to do. But again, they're wily. They're experienced in these sorts of big game situations, especially over 2 legs, Champions League, etc. They knew exactly what to do. And before you knew it, when we had that window of opportunity to strike twice, before you knew it, they had a free kick at the other end, at the part of the end, and that momentum had just been quelled, and they just calmed it down. It was professional. It was exactly what you expect from a side like Liverpool. And then obviously the substitution came, and Silva puts his faith in Rodrigo Muniz. He obviously sees something in him that he really likes, and I don't know. At the time, I was still full of the whole hope of we could still do this. But yeah, I guess when you look at it, it's a bit of a strange one, but. Yeah,
I don't want to this isn't the night for razzing at anyone. I'm proud of everyone that donned a white shirt tonight. And Pereira wasn't having his best game. It never looked like happening as soon as those substitutions were made. And I just wonder if there was, I kind of got the Kenny Tete one.
Yeah.
But I also was just trust the players on the pitch at this point. I think it's clearly something was working in that moment. And I just think a bit of momentum was lost with those particular substitutions. But look, it's tough.
Yeah, because there was a couple that they were going to make before we equalised, and then they got their bids back on. I think Muniz was probably one of them, actually.
Was,
yeah. So yeah, maybe it's one of those where, you know, I was going to bring you on and not. But yeah, I think the key thing there with the equaliser was just how well Liverpool dealt with it. Like, what we should have done at Anfield, they did. Like, before you knew it, they had a free kick at the other end, momentum quashed. Okay, we're calming it back down again, and now we're going to take it to the 90-minute mark. And that's exactly what we should have done at Anfield. It's easier said than done, of course, but credit to them.
And when you look at this tie over 2 legs, imagine that this was a 180-minute match. Fulham lost this match, and this may be sounding blindingly obvious. We lost the match in that moment there after Curtis Jones' equaliser. That's where this tie was lost. Actually, it was not controlling. You know, it was a deflected goal that Curtis Jones scored. Unlucky, it happens. That was the one moment over 180 minutes where actually this tie was won or lost.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, it hurts now. And look, I still think about the Chelsea semi-final from 22 years ago. That's just how football is. But I think we should wake up tomorrow and remember that, you know, Marco Silva's signed a new contract. We know that there have been certain restrictions in financial windows that mean that we are where we are. We're looking forward to a summer where there will be a fair bit of change, I think, but our manager's in it for the long haul, and he is the secret sauce that has made everything tick. So let's get to the end of this season. Let's be thankful for all the moments that we've had. You don't get many nights at the Cottage like this. We've had one tonight. Ultimately, it's not ended up the way we like, but we lick our wounds and we go again.
Drew, I don't think I could have put it any better myself, even if I'd have had 2 days to try and come up with that final sentence. So admirably done. We will lick our wounds and go again. And I'm sure many of you watching this are a bit down after what's happened, a bit deflated. But yeah, we got reasons to have some pride, even if it's hard to see it now. Drew, thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching. I'll be back with the podcast with Jack on Thursday, so check that out for a bit more detailed analysis. But until then, thanks for watching. Hit your comments down in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the match, and hit subscribe as well. Come on, you whites.